What's up, everybody? I'm Dave,
I'm Jazzy.
and welcome to your new favorite podcast, No But For Real. We are back.
We back.
We are back.
What's this, six?
Don't know because it's been too long, and I don't care.
Wow.
It's been a little while.
Yes, it has.
Thank y'all for 6 weeks early. Thank y'all for being patient with us and sticking with us. But to start things off, let's just talk about why we had to go away for a little bit.
Talk about this.
Let's talk about
go
it.
Check out my reel on Instagram. Now,
Yeah, Nels, please tell us
yeah,
all the details.
all of them.
Oh,
we don't
please.
got that kind of time.
Nope, just
Well, I
don't leave
mean,
nothing out.
I had jaw surgery. It was a journey. I don't recommend it. I fell at work. I got dizzy off of hookah, and I fainted. And honestly, it's still a mystery on how I fainted and what I hit. I just woke up with a broken jaw and a busted chin, y'all. Like, that's literally what happened. It's bizarre to me, like, all of it. Like, how did I just break my jaw like that? That's crazy. Yeah, I found out that I had to get surgery, like, maybe that Monday or Tuesday after I broke my jaw. I broke it on a Friday night at work. And first time having surgery, they put me on anesthesia. It's my first time having anesthesia. I was scared I wasn't going to wake up. I don't know. Woke up with a wired jaw. I was wired for 2 weeks, couldn't eat. And then I had to go through another 4-week journey of basically I had rubber bands. I just had a soft food diet. It was a mess, y'all. It was a journey of like everything being taken away from me. I was actually thinking about that on my way here. Like, this journey really made me like really well aware of like a lot of things going on in my life, because everything that I used to kind of like cope, I would say, or kind of like not I guess do the opposite of address my issues. Everything that I do to not address issues of mine, I was not able to do because of this jaw surgery. I couldn't drink alcohol. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't eat. Eating, listen, I don't know about y'all, but eating does something to me. That is a coping method for me. Like, I feel good when I eat. I like to eat good. And me not being able to eat good, me not being able to go nowhere, me not being able to, I ain't gonna lie, drink some wine, this and that was eye-opening, because then I was just left with myself. You know what I'm saying? So I am very thankful for this journey because of everything that it brought out, and then just having the support system that I had, like, I became aware of that. Like, oh, now I know who has my back. So that it was a lot of great things that happened. I don't want to sit up here and act like it wasn't a journey that that brought good things to my life or made me aware of things that I need to fix about myself and things like that. So it turned out to be an absolutely great thing to have gone through this journey, but I still don't recommend it. Obviously, if you have issues that you need to work it out. Don't have to go through this, because it still was depressing to deal with not eating and all of these things. But yes, as far as how I feel and all of that, that was stupid. I know people, like, I was looking it up, but people get jaw surgery just on the humble, just because they don't like how their face looks. I can't believe people voluntarily do this. Like, that is, like, I don't know. Maybe I just like food too much, because that was it for me. Like, I couldn't eat.
Maybe.
But I lost like
Ain't no maybe.
13 pounds, and I really wanted to lose that 13 pounds. So, I mean, hey.
A win's a win, A win is a
But
win.
I'm still technically not healed. That's a whole nother story. I don't even know if my doctor cared anymore about my jaw. He kind of just took my brace off and was like, yep, deuces, you can eat whatever you want. I still can't eat whatever I want, so I don't know what that was about. Yeah, UC don't really recommend them either, but that might be another story.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm still healing.
I remember that faithful night. Got that whole text message. Hey, broke my jaw. I'm in the hospital.
Yes. Like, what? No, I didn't even know I broke my jaw when I text you. I just said I fell and I have to go to the emergency to get stitches in my chin because I'm
Right.
thinking it's just the stitches. And then I realized, like, okay, I'm a little swollen. I got a little lisp. My bite a little off. I'm like, dang, I got to tell the doctor this. They did a whole CT scan, came back, told me I had fractures. I'm thinking I'm still good. No, that's just a fancy word for saying you broke your jaw.
Because we sure enough was supposed to record another episode that next morning.
Yes.
And I was
you know
like-
what's crazy? That is the first thing I thought about when I'm thinking like, okay, there might be something wrong with me. The first thing I thought about is not being able to come in the studio. Listen, I was so like, listen, that was another thing. Things that's being taken away, just taken away. And I'm just like, Lord, if you just wanted me to sit down, why can't you just say that?
What is
Why I have to fall?
what is the biggest lesson you learned during this process? Now that you're at
The biggest lesson I learned during this process is realizing that there are certain things that I allow in my life that keeps me from addressing real issues within myself. Sometimes you don't know that. Sometimes because you know, people can do things that are quote unquote healthy too. Like, we're not just talking about drinking and smoking and going out and doing all these things. It could be just being a workaholic, or it could be whatever it is. There are things that we do to kind of like distract us from facing certain things that we don't want to face. So I think that's my biggest lesson is when everything was taken away from me, I had to really sit with myself. And when I really sat with myself with everything being taken away, I wasn't happy. So the biggest lesson I got from this was realizing that I am unhappy. And it's not really unhappy in the sense of, I wouldn't even say it's a bad thing. Like, I'm at the point in my life where I'm okay with not being okay. You know what I'm saying? And I'm okay with like, oh, I'm not okay, and I need to just fix it, and I need to just dig deeper and figure out what's going on, figure out things that make me happy, you know?
Right.
So I think that's been my biggest lesson, is just realizing like, okay, you know, it's time to really address what's going on. You know, what's keeping you from this next step in your life? What's keeping you from that woman that you want so badly to be? And time to work on it, time to address it. So the things that was taken away, you know, even with the food thing, like, people may not think that's a big deal, but like, liking food too much is gluttony. You know what I mean? So now I see myself like, I don't even care to eat like a lot. You know what I'm saying? Or eat a lot of, or certain foods don't even, I don't know how long that's gonna last, because this just happened. So hopefully it lasts a long time. But I don't even care to eat, like, I'm okay with like eating healthy or eating smaller meals and things like that. So I think I'm grateful for that. Just being able to like be more disciplined with my food, because I'm so grateful to eat. I'm not really worried about eating cakes and pies and all of that stuff.
Cakes and pies. Hilarious.
But
Well,
yes, address your issues, guys. Address your issues.
listen, the biggest lesson here is don't smoke hookah. If you're gonna do it small amounts. Maybe,
I wouldn't say
you know,
that just because, I mean, I overdid it. So I
that's
guess
what
I
I
left that
mean.
part out.
Just
Yeah.
do it in small doses. Is all I mean.
Normally, people who smoke hookah don't smoke it by themselves and for hours and hours. Like, this was just a situation where I was at work. I was not busy at all, but all the other bartenders were. And so no other bartenders was trying to smoke it, and normally that's the case. So this time, since I was the only one that wasn't busy, I'm the only one just smoking it, not even thinking. I fell around 1 a.m. I probably got my hookah around 10.
That's
So
crazy.
if we're going to put two and two together here, I overdid it, and that's not something that is normal for me at all. So I wouldn't, I mean, obviously don't smoke it if you don't want to risk it, but it's not even me trying to do all of that. People going to do what they do, but obviously it's possible to overdo it. It's possible to overdose on any drug. So obviously people know it's common sense not to overdo a drug. Obviously there's a thing called overdosing.
You would think it's common sense.
It's not when you're
probably
distracted
not.
and you're thinking like, dang, why I ain't making no money? And you just smoking the hookah. Not even thinking.
I've learned sense ain't that common.
It's stupid.
But all
It's
right.
not, you're right. Obviously
All
not
right. So that's why we had to go away for a little while. But we're glad Jazzy is okay. We're
My jaw still
glad
broke, y'all. Just so y'all know.
she's towards the tail end. If she wasn't, we wouldn't be here. But we're glad Nels is good. And so, yeah, it was dope to get to walk with her through this process. And, yeah, just to see how great she's doing now.
We'll see.
Ain't no we'll see. You are, so from the first week to now, you are a completely different person.
Really?
Yes.
You've never said that, Dave. You just gonna say that on the podcast.
I wasn't thinking about it till now. So it's true.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
In a bad way or in a good way?
No. Your mindset is completely different.
Oh, wow.
You're driven. You are
Sorry.
I think this process has allowed you to wake up something inside yourself that was probably asleep for a little while.
For sure.
And so you are driven. You are focused. And you aren't allowing things to take that away from you. And so, you know, like I said, I think you have grown in this process. You may not see it, but I do, and that's all that matters.
All that matter.
Yeah.
I'm done. No, it's not like I don't see it. I guess I'm just a little hard on myself when it comes to certain decisions that's contradictory. I mean, I think we should give ourselves grace, absolutely. But I have always said this. I am not a graceful person, not even to myself. Like some people will probably think like, okay, you're not graceful to me and, you know, feel a way about that. But it's like, they don't know. I do it to myself. I'm not graceful to myself either, you know? So I'm super hard on myself when it comes to certain decisions, especially when I made a vow to myself to be a certain way and do this and not do this. And then I turn around and do something that's contradictory to that. It's like, whoo, that right there is a lot for me. I don't even know why I said that. Why did I bring that up?
Because I was talking about how you've grown.
Oh, okay.
And you do that thing you do.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I was saying that he was saying that I may not feel like I've grown. I feel like I'm in that process. I don't feel like I've actually tapped all the way in. I just feel like I'm kind of touching the surface of that. But I guess that's a part of growth.
I disagree, but okay. It's because yeah, okay.
You see me differently, I guess. And it's supposed to be like that, I think.
Of course. I said that in the last episode that I do. So
You're so annoying.
here we go. Not much has changed in that area.
True.
All right. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Let's get personal.
What's up? What's our first? I don't
We
forgot.
get personal. Let's get personal.
Let's get personal is our first segment.
You know, we got to ask each other a personal question, and we have to answer truthfully. You know. So let's say.
No, we don't sit here and lie.
Because some people be cat, you know. Not me and you, obviously. But I don't know. We just have to make sure. So, you and your significant... Oh, Lord. Why always got to be something? You and your significant other finish having sex. While you are washing up in the bathroom, you overhear them starting to masturbate. What will be your response, Lord?
So let's backtrack
That's
here.
a random question.
Like right after? Oh wait.
Yes, you're in the bathroom washing up. So yeah, it's literally right after.
Oh well, if I didn't satisfy you, do your thing.
What is your response? That's your response?
My response is, if I didn't get the job done and you need that, go for it. I got mine. I'm good.
You wouldn't feel no way.
No. I would, if it was like, if it's something you've never
just
done.
Talked about telling the truth.
Here's my thing. If it's something you've never done before, I would be like, what are you doing?
So
like,
if it's normal, you would be like, oh, okay.
If I'm not getting the job done, by all means, if that's what you need to do.
Oh my God. Okay, so
what am I
have
gonna,
a question.
What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Just be like,
how about ask why you have to do that and try to be the person?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just
it's
like.
not, I mean, yeah, because you're saying, oh, I'm good.
I would be if I'm not satisfying you, and you are like,
But so
I got to do
your motive
this.
is not to satisfy your partner.
Of course it
So
is.
if you know you're not satisfying your partner, why wouldn't
But
you
it would
wanna
be
know
a
why?
conversation. Of course, there's a whole step that I'm jumping over.
Yes, you're stepping over.
It's
You're not answering the question.
but my thing is, I am answering the question.
What the question is? What would be your response?
My response would be, if it was like the first time I would be like, what are you doing? And then it would probably lead to, I'm masturbating because you didn't satisfy me. So I'd be like, oh, okay, well,
Okay.
hey, teach me how to satisfy you then.
Okay.
If I'm still not doing it because I ain't going to get done the first maybe few times, then if you need to do that, then do it. Like you didn't, because I'm for sure getting mine, for sure.
Oh my God.
But if
Sounds a
you
little
not,
selfish.
I mean, I am.
Oh Lord.
But if you need to be the teacher, I'll be the student. I don't care. I ain't gonna sit here and pretend like.
You know, there's a very low percentage. I don't know what the percentage is or statistic of women having orgasms. Like it's not normal. So that's why I'm kind of like diving deeper into your response, because you have to keep in mind that women having orgasms is not normal. So it does make sense if a woman doesn't get off, and statistically during sex. So that should be considered.
I heard it's like a whole like mental thing for women too.
Maybe
like,
it is.
If the temperature in the room ain't right, I'm for real. Like it's funny, but it's true. Like if the temperature in the room ain't right, her mind, she just can't put her mind in the situation, like of having sex and having an orgasm. Like it's a bunch of things that play a factor into that. For men, it's different. It could be -10 outside. We busting a nut. Like we just, it's gonna happen.
No facts. I
either
definitely
way.
think just as a woman, you know, it circumstances do play a role.
It does.
100%.
For women, it's mental. Men, it's just, let's just do what we got to do.
Yeah. So I feel like me asking a man that question,
It's really
you
about
should
communication.
know, like you should want to be the person that wants to satisfy
Absolutely.
your woman, even knowing that it's hard and that circumstances are important and all those things.
Absolutely. It's really about communication with the person you're having sex with.
Exactly.
So if your partner is like, hey, I'm not satisfied, I need to go do this, I understand. However, it will lead to a question of, okay, teach me how to satisfy you.
But what if she can't teach you?
Well, time to go see a sex therapist or something.
Okay.
Like, I
like
we
that.
we need to find a solution here.
Absolutely.
Like,
Something. So for me, as a woman,
yeah,
I
you
will
answer the
be
question.
livid. Okay?
If
Because
you
what?
Oh man, that
Because
would be,
what? How is this possible? Like you said, there is no circumstances. There is no, so like what is going on? You know, like that would be a problem. First of all, it's not even really over until
that
you
is
ejaculate.
so, that is funny.
So
until
you
that is
faked
so
it?
funny to think about.
Yeah, like what? You fake it? Like what is going on? Like
Now,
I would be upset. Like you lied. Because how was the sex over if you got to masturbate afterwards? Sex was never over. You just stopped and decided to masturbate. So you wanted your hand over me?
yeah, that would be messed up.
That is a problem.
Now, I have had,
We would definitely have to have a conversation.
I've had sex and, you know, she had an orgasm. I was still rock solid and I was tired and I was just like, you good? All right, I'm done. Like, I ain't go jack off or nothing. I really went downstairs to get something to
See,
eat.
that's different.
But I was just tired.
If you're
Like, it
just
was a long
tired,
day.
you're just over it, okay.
Yeah,
but
I'm over it.
if you want to, you know, and you
And
can't
I wasn't going to,
because of this person.
right, and I wasn't going to stop until she got hers. But
Okay.
I was just like, you good? Your leg shaking? I hit that? Great. I'm hungry. I'm about to go. Like,
Oh my God, I'm hungry.
It was-
that's right. You do be hungry afterwards. Like,
but she got hers though. I just did.
that's right.
But I wasn't going to, I'm not that type of dude either. It's just like,
masturbate afterwards. Masturbate.
That
after
is
sex.
weird
It's
to me, though.
disrespectful. It's disrespectful. I don't care.
it's also weird to me. Also,
Like,
here's my
teach
thing.
me,
And
like you said, teach me how to.
here's my thing. If you are a heterosexual male and you go jack off after you have been inside of a woman,
What's happening?
there's a lot of things you need
But I
to.
don't know if it's an orientation thing
No,
because
I don't
maybe
know.
the vagina just ain't hitting. You know, that's possible. But that's what I'm
that's
saying.
possible
Like,
too. But but what if it
Don't
is?
just go and don't prefer your hand over me. Like we gonna have to talk about that. That's not gonna
Some
work.
people don't even use their hand. They got toys, which is also to me, it's a tad bit
I don't
weird.
think I've had this happen. Have you had this happen before?
What?
Like
Somebody?
they masturbated right after sex?
No.
I don't think this is a typical thing. This question is
No.
random. Like I don't feel like I've had this happen, but I have had a ex masturbate instead of initiating sex with me. So I have had that happen, which I guess
Wow.
can kind of be in the same vicinity. But I think it's because I don't know. I'm not a real I'm not a big sexual person, so
Now I know
that kind of comes out.
I know
in
some
relationships.
people, some men. It is known to masturbate before you have sex, so you last longer
See, that's stupid. You don't
the
do that with
next
me.
time around. But I've said before, I ain't trying to go that long, so
Cause why? Why do people like long sex? That is so weird to me. Oh my god.
I got stuff to
We can
do.
talk about this forever, honestly. 'Cause
I
I
got
got a lot of questions.
Talk about it, shoot.
No, we'll save it.
But it's just like
we'll add this as a topic.
it's just like I mean, long sex is we get tired. Like
Exactly. You
it
get
also
tired
depends
and-
on the night. Like if I got to get up in the morning, I ain't trying to. No, 45 minutes. Who does that?
People.
Other than porn stars,
Man,
and they don't even go that long.
they shouldn't. Cause it's like I feel like you shouldn't be able to last that long. That's how I look at it.
You probably
How
need to
is
go
it
get
that you're
checked
able
out,
to not, finish?
unless
in
you
an
took a
hour?
pill, something.
Yeah, like or something like that. But like you in your natural state, I'm not going for that hour. That means
No,
I ain't doing what I'm supposed to do.
because
That's what that means
I
to
would.
me.
I'm serious.
Maybe
I
that's
would.
immaturity.
I would be going, but then I'll be asking questions like, "Look, are you close? You not done? Because I'm tired. Like I'm sweating.
Yes.
No, thank you. I'm
Communication is
good.
everything.
It is. It is. But that is our Let's Get Personal segment.
Yeah, that was kind of real personal.
Very.
All right, so today we talking about
What are we talking about?
one of everybody's favorite topics, going around, standards and expectations. And this
Ooh-wee.
can kind of go so many different ways. So
I think it
we'll
depends on the
see
person.
how this conversation goes. But I mean, why do I want to talk about standards and expectations? One, there's a lot of things I feel like needs to be addressed as far as standards and expectations. Where are they coming from? What are your standards? Can you even handle your standards? That's another question. Sometimes we'll have standards but once you get it, it's like, oh, it's kind of a lot. So that's why I want to talk about it, because it's like I don't think a lot of people put a lot of thought into their standards and expectations, or they don't even differentiate the two. So I have definitions here.
Go for it.
So standards is an idea or thing used as a measure or norm or model in comparative evaluations. Okay. Then you have expectations, which is a strong belief that something will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So seems like standards is kind of based on what's normal. That's what like a standard is, like what's normal. But I think the way we look at it is kind of like what we want out of somebody, or what we want
Right.
for us, or whatever. And then I feel like expectations is kind of like the result of that. Like, I expect this because this is what I want. But I think sometimes there's a skip step with people. They'll have expectations without the standard, or without the standard being addressed, or without the standard being discussed. We'll just walk in with expectations instead of setting standards and then having expectations after that. So
But
that's why I wanted to kind of make the definitions.
can you have expectations without standards, though?
I don't think so.
That's the like. There's
There's
levels to this. Like,
But I think, and when I say standards, I feel like it's not when it comes to not non-relationships or just you and yourself, I feel like there has to be some type of discussion about it, or some type
Right.
of set. Like you have to set the standards.
Right.
And I don't feel like people do that all the time, or there's just these unwritten expectations without the setting of the standard. So yeah, that's why, like I said, I wanted to make those definitions clear, because it's like we have to set the standards before we can make the expectations. But
Okay, so what my question is, what are your standards?
that's where I was about to go. So look, Dave, no.
I be knowing, and I don't even do research. I just be knowing.
That's exactly where I was about to go. See, and I was thinking about this on my way down here. I don't have specific. My only standards are wrapped around, I feel like, morals, values. There's no like, I don't have like superficial standards. Like, oh, he has to be this tall, and he has to make this money, and he has to, have these things. I don't have material standards. I don't have external standards. I have internal standards. And I feel like your internal is going to take care of your external. So I don't really have to worry so much about the external things. I think people do the opposite, like, oh, I like the external, and then the internal's all jacked up, and then they have to go back and, So me, morals, my morals, values, wanting monogamy coming into the relationship. Because I had a conversation with a guy before, and he was like, well, I feel like you would make me want to get married. I don't want that. I don't want to make a man want to get married. I want you to want to get married before we even have I want that to be a part of your personality.
That doesn't even logically make sense, but go ahead.
It doesn't logically make sense for somebody to...
No. Either you want to or not. Nobody can make you do anything.
And I feel that way too. But I guess the way I understood the way he was looking at it in the sense of like, because men don't talk about that all the time. Like they'll say, well, I was this and I was out here and I was this and I was that until I met my wife.
Yeah,
then I became a completely different person. And that's cool. That's great. For me, if that happens, I feel like it would happen on accident. But for me, I feel like if we go on a date and you don't want marriage, you're checked off the list. You're not somebody that I'm going to take seriously. If we end up forming a friendship and being together after that, okay. But I am not considering you as somebody that I would date unless you come into the relationship wanting monogamy. Because, that I feel like that's a problem in our like culture. Right. I feel like a lot of people don't really want monogamy, but they'll like not want you to be out here. So they'll, play along like they want monogamy just to keep you around. And it's just like, if you don't want it, why are you trying to why are you finding somebody that wants monogamy when you know you don't want monogamy? So I just feel like that's a big deal for me, because you'll have like quote unquote good men who really don't want to be monogamous. Right. And it's like, it's okay. That's you. Just stay over there, So that's a big standard for me that I realized, like, especially after my last relationship, I'm like, that has to be something you desire prior to even knowing me, getting to know me, wanting to be with me. Right. You need to want that. You need to desire that. You need to desire being a husband. You need to desire being monogamous. If you don't, then I don't think this is going to work. And then, like I said, as far as morals, having a religious base, being Christian, just because I need the foundation of right or wrong on top of other things, But the foundation of right or wrong is very important to me. If we can't go back and decide, like, okay, this is right because of this, and we collectively understand that this is how we base right or wrong, it's that can cause issues. That can cause a lot of issues, because it's like you don't think something is wrong and I think something is wrong, and it's just like that doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like I have to have everything about my standards is about the foundation part. Everything else, I feel like it's negotiable. Like, we don't have to agree on everything. The only things we have to agree on are the things that this relationship stands on. That's it. Other than that, it don't matter. So like I said, just...
So those were two. So what was the first one?
The first one was desiring monogamy prior to knowing me.
And the
second one is having a Christian belief of right or wrong, a moral standard of right and wrong. For me, Christian belief, I guess for everybody else, be different, right? And then I feel like that kind of takes care of a lot of things. Like, I can go into honesty, and I can go into...
Give me three more. Top 5.
Honesty. Let's see. Perseverance. That's kind of weird, right? I don't know what other word to say. But you have to, we talked about this in Love and Success. You have to want it so badly that you would take the time to figure it out. So that's what I mean by perseverance. You treat it like you want anything else. You know,
Right.
if you say you want me, I want to be treated like the other thing that you went after. I want to be treated just like that. Because why wouldn't I? That doesn't make sense. You know, you can't say you want something, but then you showing it different ways. That to me, how can you say you want it when you really want this, but you don't really want this as much? Like, come on. So perseverance, honesty.
You got one more.
Trying to think. What else? I guess openness. Openness in a sense of,
Would that be a standard or expectation in honesty?
because openness I guess sometimes I don't know the word for what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna describe what I mean. So when I say openness, I mean like be your ability to learn, your ability to like see, like I can have my own way of thinking, but like after a conversation with Dave, I can have a different way of thinking. That's me.
Right.
I like my partner to be like that too. I don't want to talk to my partner and he's just, oh, I would never ever believe that, and it's all
Right.
this evidence that, you know, it's like, at least let's be able to have a conversation about it. Let's be able to have a conversation. So I guess that's probably one of communication, being able to have a conversation, being able to talk, being able to grow, being able to build. That's probably number one. The fact that I thought about that last is crazy, but that is number one for me. Communication. 100%. Your ability to communicate. And it's not even your ability to communicate. It's if you can't communicate, your ability to want to learn. It's always a process that we can take. There's always, and that goes back to the perseverance. They all kind of link together. You know, there's always a way to figure things out.
Right.
So yeah, I think I covered it.
All right.
I don't have expectations of, oh, we got to dress a certain way. You got to make a certain, I don't got that.
Now, that used to be me.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this. We must have had a question like this before.
Long time ago. But as I've gotten older, I wouldn't say my standards have lowered. I'm very specific about the standards that I am. So my first one is you have to have a relationship with the Lord or a working relationship with the Lord. Ain't got to be perfect because nobody's is.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the standard is you believe in Jesus and you believe he died for your sins, all of that. The second one, and these next three, every man has this standard.
God.
They will not communicate it, but every man has the standard. The first one, the second one for me is respect. That is it's like real close to number one because these next three things every man needs. So the second one is respect, meaning the expectation is you're not going to talk to me any other way. You're not going to, if I say, hey, I don't like when you do this because it makes me feel this type of way, and you still do it, you disrespectful. So yeah, that's just one expectation out of that. The third one is support. Meaning, if I have like this dream, this goal, everybody has them. And your first thing,
Not everybody.
true. The first thing you do is feel like you have to critique me on my dream and goal. Because I had these dreams and goals before you even came into the picture. So to think that you have to control what my dreams and goals are, you already out of line. You out of pocket. And you make it also, if you make it about you, like, now I have a problem with that. Because if you are in my life and we are doing this thing called life together, my dreams and goals include you. My wins are your wins. So push me to go after my dreams and goals. Now, of course, every woman wants security. Absolutely. So if I present to you my dreams and goals and I give you a plan of how it's going to work, back me up. Ask your questions. Absolutely. I don't question me on everything because that makes me better. It makes me more clear on what I want. However, if I give you a clear answer, Don't try to hold me back because you're afraid. Great. The fourth one. Every man needs sex. Every man. Absolutely. Sex is a good thing. Sex is a great thing. Every man needs it.
I'm so childish, because why do I laugh?
Because something's wrong with you.
Because it's funny.
But
it's
I
not.
think, God created sex for men to need it. For me personally, sex, I'll put it this way. Busting a nut, for some reason, it just puts me in a clear headspace. The endorphins are released. I can think more clearly. There's more to it that I can go into, but I'm not. But that's just one of the perks of having sex. And also sex, especially in marriage, because I believe sex and marriage, well, the Bible says the marriage bed is undefiled. So if you are married to someone and you have sex and you are building a healthy sex life, great. Every person needs that. And I think the fifth one, I would say openness too. Openness. You got to want to grow. My whole thing is, though, have grace for yourself. Everybody ain't going to get it right all the time. You're not going to get it right all the time. I'm going to add a number 6 because, I've learned this the hard way. Know what you want and stick to it. Like, if you really want something, you'll go after it. You'll stop making excuses for it. Like, I want this. I want to pursue this relationship. And then pursue it. But I can't because, ABC. So what? If this person is in your life and you know that they are here for a specific reason and you want to grow with this person, you want this person in your life for the rest of your life, that person will help you get to this place. If not, what they there for? Why are they there? But I've said this before and I'll say it again.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
The days of making excuses for you being where you are. Like, you can't blame everybody else. You can't blame it on A, B, C, and D. Blaming it on your past gets old at some point. It's just like, okay, you went through it, but now what?
Right. Sure.
How long are you going to be beating yourself up?
Yeah.
Because it's like, cool, have your emotional moment. You are entitled to that, but you are also entitled to making yourself better and putting in the work.
Absolutely.
So if you want to be better emotionally, mentally, spiritually, put in the work. Stop making excuses. Like, if you want to grow spiritually, spend time with God. Make time in your day to do it. Stop making excuses like, oh, my schedule is so busy. No, it's not. It's busy because you want it to be busy.
For sure.
So it's not a priority.
Yes, for sure.
So it's like, but go ahead. You was going to ask a question.
Thank you for that. I feel like I needed to hear that. But I wanted to ask a lot of the things that you said. So the respect, the support, the openness. Well, not really the openness. I don't know. Do you feel like these are non-negotiables? Meaning, like, do they have to come into the relationship with that mindset already? Or is this something that can be worked on? Because I feel like my standards was more so based on things that you normally wouldn't be able to change about a person. Their morals and their values and things like that.
Yeah.
I feel like everything else is something you can work on. Because I can say something like, yeah, I want support. But what support looks like to me may not be what support looks like to my partner.
Right.
So that all gets worked out as long as the willingness to work it out is there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I guess the question for you is, with the things that you were naming, is these non-negotiables, meaning like they need to come into the relationship ready to grow, knowing what they want, knowing, having a schedule or how to go about it and all of these things?
No.
Or is these more so things that you want, but you're willing to work toward, and you want your partner to want to work toward them as well?
You have to have a willingness to come and put in the work. So I'm not saying you got to have it all together. I don't think any person comes into a relationship completely whole, ever, because relationships, especially
Well, what is
romantic.
your definition of whole? Real quick, sorry to interject, but I just want to make sure.
Believing, so wholeness to me is an internal thing. Like I've struggled with a lot of things in my life, like being a product of divorced parents had an effect on me.
Okay.
So it caused me to run away from relationships rather than building relationships with people, because once conflict came up, my go-to is to just run and cut people off, and you never hear from me again. That's not healthy. So I had to do the work to be sure, am I cultivating healthy relationships in a way where if something comes up, like if we disagree or if we are in conflict, work on communicating how you feel. Work
Right.
on communicating, in general, and work on like if this relationship is important to you, like you say it is, build on it. You have to build on these things. So,
Your definition of whole.
so my definition of whole is not letting your past or certain traumas affect how you move now. So, but however, some people don't know that their trauma still affect them until you're in relationships.
Absolutely, they don't.
So, because here's what I've learned, especially the difference in dating and the difference in being in a committed relationship. In dating, you will always see who the other person is and who they allow you to see. And committed romantic relationships especially, will always show you who you are. And it will always show you what you need to work on.
Yes.
So if you in a committed relationship, you will see like, oh, I have an issue, with running away. Why is that?
Right.
Why is that a thing? Or why is it that every time I get in a committed relationship, I get scared and I push people away? What is that about? Like, why am I, you've acknowledged the thing, but let's not stop there. Let's get to the next step. Okay, why? Let's get to the foundation of it all. So wholeness is when you get to the foundation of a thing and you can handle the foundation of a thing and tackle it head on and have the hard conversations and do that inner work. That way, once you start building on a solid foundation, it's more firm. But like I said, everybody goes through things in life where you will meet people that will cause you to go back to who you used to be and back to things that you dealt with, where you have to tackle this thing. You have to acknowledge these things head on and be honest with yourself. Like, this happened and it's causing A, B, C, and D to go out of control. So you can either deal with it or you can run. And you're going to get tired of running at some point.
Do you think there's a such thing as being all the way healed? You're done healing.
Yeah, I do. Because, and I'll put it this way. If let's say you cut yourself, those cuts are going to heal. Now, if it can happen externally, why can't it happen internally? I'll give this example. My dad and our relationship was terrible. it was transactional.
What
And
about those relationships?
and I never wanted that.
Yeah.
But it was just like, well, if I give you some money, we'll be cool. And it's just like, I don't care about none of that. I want a relationship with my father. But we had to dig deep to get to the root of the issue. And so I had to stop blaming the fact that my parents got divorced, that my father and I's relationship was so bad that my relationships when I got older stopped working. Like, okay, yeah, it was bad, but cool. Dad, let's have a conversation. What's going on? You know, and so now I'm happy to say my dad and our relationship is dope. We can talk about anything. We can hang out. I was just at his house the other day and we was just kicking it. Like,
Love that.
and it was just me and him. And so yeah, I've been completely healed from that past trauma of being mad at my dad for not being there. But what comes with that, he apologized, I apologized, he forgave me, I forgave him. But once you forgive someone, you can't hold a grudge.
For sure.
But you also can't hold them to this standard of you have to be perfect now. Because every relationship is going to have its setbacks. And if it's worth it, you will put in the work to make it better. If you really want it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess I'm looking at certain extremities that would kind of hinder healing being ever done. So, a death in the family, sexual trauma, molestation, rape. These things, I don't know if they ever go away. I see it firsthand that I don't believe how losing someone that you love, how that affects you. I have friends who have lost parents, and I don't see them not ever having some unhealed action from that. I don't know if it's a healing journey when you have a death in the family. I don't know if there's a such thing. Maybe there's more so like a coping thing.
Well, everybody copes different.
No, for sure.
And based on my own experience, I think you can be healed from a death in the family because I lost my brother when I was 11, 12. My brother died when he was 19. His name was Joseph. And Joe died in a motorcycle accident. I remember the day literally like it was yesterday because I was just with him that weekend. That past weekend, he died that Monday. And so, or that Sunday night. So we were together Saturday, spent the whole day together. That Sunday night, he passed in a motorcycle accident. So we were over somebody's house, and I remember my friend's mom was on the phone, and I could hear her, like, sad. And she was saying, like, I'm so sorry, because I had just walked out the bathroom. And out of the bathroom, you go right into the kitchen. And I heard her on the phone apologizing. So she called us. She was like, hey, we're going to take y'all home. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, but in my head, I'm like, something's not right. So we get home, and my mom was like, hey, call your dad. And so I called my dad. My sister was on the cordless phone. This was back when people still had landlines too. I know for all you Gen Zers, y'all don't know nothing about that.
Gen Zers.
Y'all don't even know nothing about a cordless phone. You had to put it on the stand, on the charger. Right.
We thought we was doing something with that conversation too.
And so I went in the kitchen on the landline phone, called my dad. He was like, are you sitting down? I wasn't. I lied. I was like, yeah. But I just wanted him to get to the point.
Exactly.
and he told us that my brother was in a motorcycle accident and he died last night. And I remember getting off the phone. I didn't cry when he told me. We got off the phone. I walked in the living room and I just sat on the couch. And I processed for a little bit and just broke. Like, I mean, broke. Crying. I cried for the rest of the day, the next day. And I can say with grief, you don't put a time on grief, and you can't put a time on healing from grief, because that spot that they held in your heart is going to be gone forever. As far as a physical sense, because you're not seeing them. The only thing you have is your memories and things. And so I can say for me, I've healed as far as the fact of hurting at the fact that he left, and also hurting at the fact that how he left, because that's what also really got me. Like, he died tragically. It wasn't like he died in his sleep. It wasn't a peaceful thing. And I also say, like, I healed from not forgiving him because I was angry with him. Just like, why were you speeding on the motorcycle? You know, why didn't I get the opportunity to say goodbye? You know? So once I went through those steps of forgiving my brother, and, you know, it took years. I think he passed when I was like 11. I wasn't really fully healed, probably till I was about 19, 20.
So fully healed. I guess there's like different aspects of healing. Because I know me, like if I think about my healing journey, I think sometimes I focus on the mental, but I use my actions to kind of train my mental a little bit. And I feel like it's an ongoing like thing. Right. And I feel like, and you know, this, I'm sure it's not true for everyone, but I feel like for a lot of people, especially when it comes to losing certain people in their life, that might be something they have to continue doing forever. You know, like, oh, in my mind, I'm hurt, I'm down, I'm sad, but I can't keep waking up like that. Or I can't keep, but even though mentally, I want to just lay in bed all day because I'm thinking about my mother that just passed away.
Absolutely. I mean,
but I got to get up and go. I got to get up and do this. So when I say, is it possible to heal from certain things? I don't mean, okay, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're still showing up for yourself. You're still doing that. But are you mentally, are you still battling with it? You know what I'm saying?
I would say healing takes work. And I don't think the work stops.
And I guess that's what I was kind of trying to say too.
Yeah, I don't think the work stops, especially depending on the level of pain.
Right.
Exactly. I think though, when I say healed, you're not using what the trauma is for certain things not happening. So let's say, you know, my parents' divorce made me upset. Mm-hmm. I had to stop using divorce as a reason to not want to go after marriage.
Right.
So, but I had to heal from that.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean that you stop the work of, you know, going after that thing. You just stop using that other thing as an excuse to not go after the other thing.
Externalize the issue in a better way.
Because healing...
I guess my perspective of that is sometimes, and it may not be true for everyone, but I think you can externalize it all day and do exactly what you're supposed to do. Yeah, I know that in my mind, you know, this is probably not the right thing to do, so I'm going to do the other thing. But I had to go through that process first. And that process of me having to tell myself, Jazzy, that's not right. This is a traumatic response. Do this instead.
Right.
That is a sign of not being healed to me. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing to not be healed, but I guess my point is there are some things that, that's going to be like that probably for a long time or probably forever, depending on what, again, the pain is. And I guess it probably varies from person to person. So I don't know. I just think it's an interesting point to have conversations because that's a big trend now, being healed. It's almost being like overused. Everybody's talking about being healed, but there are some times, you're dealing with someone that has baggage that may not be able to get rid of it. And I'm not saying that it's okay for them to treat you badly and things like that, but I feel like knowing that a person is going through something, and understanding that it may be something they always go through. I think that's just an important thing to point out when we're talking about healing and coming to a relationship whole or not whole. Some people lost parts of themselves that they are trying to get back, and it's like an ongoing journey. There's some people that believe, I would never be fully happy, but I'm gonna die trying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna always want this. I'm gonna always want that. It's like sometimes I feel like life is just this constant battle to be a certain way or heal a certain way. But is it always going to get to a point where you're like, all right, I'm good? Or is it a constant battle? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's a toss up. I feel like for some things, I feel like it's a 100%, it's a constant battle. And for some things, it might be just you needing to.
But I think I want to be careful to say that, healing is a trend. Healing is you will only be healed if you want to be healed. I'll put it that way.
I guess I mean just the topic of talking about healing is a trend.
Got you.
Not really people healing
but
is a trend.
I want to say this too. It depends on how much you want to be free from a thing. Because a lot of people want to stay connected to their past. And if that's you, great. For some people, though, being connected to your past means you will never reach your full potential and never reach your future simply because you still holding on to past stuff.
Yeah.
And you should want to be free from that.
For sure.
You should want to live your best life. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Nothing worth having comes easy. And so it's really about what your intentions are. Do you really want to be free? Do you really want to be healed? Great. Put in the work to do it. Go see a therapist. Put in that work. At the end of the day, put in that work. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody. And I've
Is the work controlling your mental, or is the work controlling your doings and the external doings? Is it possible to completely control your thoughts and where your mind goes? Or is the work where you let your mind influence you to do or not do?
So I'll put it this way. Can you control your thoughts? Yes. But do you have control where you let your thoughts take you? Absolutely.
So you think you can control your thoughts?
Yeah. But it's like, okay, if I'm thinking about this one thing, cool. Do I have to act on my thoughts? No, I don't.
Well, the question is, do you think you can control your thoughts? If you can't control your thoughts, if you have the thought, my thing is this, it's kind of, what is it called? It's kind of like a redundant question. Because if I'm asking you, do you think you can control your thoughts? That's automatically saying we can't control our thoughts, because why would we need to control them? Why would there need to be a sense of control if we can control them?
Yeah.
Why would we need to have a conversation about controlling our thoughts if we can control it? If we could control our thoughts, we wouldn't have a conversation about controlling our thoughts. I feel like things just, I don't know. This is a conversation. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I just think that thoughts just happen. Feelings happen. They occur.
Mm-hmm.
what you decide to do with those feelings, like you were saying, you 100% can control. 100%. So I guess when we're talking about healing, are we talking about how you control your thoughts or your ability to control your thoughts? I guess that's where I'm going with it. And in my perspective, I think it's your ability to how your thoughts influence your behaviors. It's not really you controlling your thoughts. I think, and there is self-help books out there that talks about emotional intelligence and how you can feed yourself positive thoughts and things like that. But my thing is, if I have to feed myself positive thoughts, what are the thoughts there that I'm trying to cover up? That tells me right there that we lack control.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think it's easier to have those negative thoughts than positive thoughts?
I don't think it's easier. I just think it's easier for some people. I don't think it's easier for everybody. I think people grow up with positive thinking. People grow up around positive thinking. People grow up around that.
Okay.
I think your environment is kind of how your brain process. I'm pretty sure there are studies out there about environment and the functions of your brain and how your brain functions and how your brain thinks, and your environment, I think, plays a role. They talk about that. Successful people talk about that all the time. Like, if you want to be successful, get around successful people. Why do you think they say that? There are scientific studies that corroborate that.
Right.
You need certain environments for your brain to function. So I don't think it's not easy. I think it's not easy for people who didn't grow up in environments where positivity was a thing. And then, yes, I'm trying to unlearn and relearn. So why do I think that it's hard? Or if I think it's hard, I think it's your environment. I think it's what you grew up on, what you were conditioned to think or feel. Because, I think that I don't think we're born negative. We're not born thinking negative. I think somebody said something about that. Like, babies, they don't think they can't do stuff. They trying everything. They trying to walk. Mm-hmm. They trying to do, knowing they can't walk. We grow up as adults and we become this person where we're like, oh, I don't think I can do this, or I don't think I can do that. It's taught to us. Mm-hmm. So now we have to teach ourselves to do the opposite.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think?
Agree. What do I think?
Okay. So, yeah, I guess we kind of covered healing. And I don't want to go too in-depth in it because I'm pretty sure that's a topic. We're going to talk about trauma. We're going to talk about healing and trauma and all of that and how that plays in relationships. And, so we don't need to dig too deep into it. But that should be a standard and an expectation to at least want that for yourself, right? For at least for me and for Dave, you need to come kind of being a little self-aware and, now it's time for the next step of that self-awareness.
Yeah, you don't have to come completely whole, completely healed. Honestly, I think you need people to get through that process. You're not going to get through that process alone. You're not. However, you do need to come self-aware of, like, I got issues and I'm trying to work through them. And if you in my life, I hope you are here to help me work through these issues. If you're not, why are you here?
Right.
What's the point?
What is the point? What is the point of life without your issues, honestly? That's like the best part of life, issues. Like when you think about it, like even when I get down on myself about my problems, like it's like, what would I be doing if I ain't have them though? Like if I ain't have nothing to work on, like life will suck for real. Like it sucks to work on your problems, but it also sucks to like
life will always
to not have something to grow from, to not have accomplishments. Like accomplishments that's external, like that's great, but internal accomplishments, listen, that takes care of the external.
What's one of your internal things like that you are like constantly like struggling with or battling with, and you like, I got to get through this? Confidence
is number one. Mm-hmm. I think I fake it a lot because I have to. I can't be out here just sad and all of that, And I remember I would never forget an interview with Rihanna, and they was talking to her about that or whatever. That's like, what do you do when you don't feel like it? And what do you do when you're just down and you're not motivated? And she said, I pretend. I'm like, I know that's right. Mm-hmm. Because you kind of have to practice. And we talked about that in previous episodes. Like sometimes when we talk about, healing, or we talk about working on yourself, and Like, what does that look like? For me, that looks like practice. If I want to be confident, I have to practice being confident. I'm not just going to be like, oh, I'm going to read this book and hope I'm confident after that. No, it comes with the practice of the actions.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What was the question? Did I answer the question?
What is something you battle with internally?
Oh, yeah. Definitely confidence.
I think for me, it could be confidence, but I really battle with questioning my abilities. Like, I always ask myself if I'm good enough to do this.
Competence. Then that's what that is.
Like, like, am I good enough to do this? And the question is always yes. The answer is always yes. Like, I always, like, answer the question I ask myself. Like,
absolutely.
Are my abilities good enough? Yes. Which makes me confident, because I wasn't always this way. I used to be the Debbie Downer. I used to be the negative person. And after you go through some stuff, I stopped caring what people think. Like, you ain't got to like me. You ain't got to work with me. You definitely gonna respect me. However, I am who I am, and I'm gonna keep growing. If you don't like it, God bless you and your sweetheart, and move on. But at the end of the day, do I always believe in myself? No. But okay, I would say a good 70% of myself is like, no, nigga, you a beast. You
For
absolutely are.
And it's because you practice it, right?
Oh yeah, I absolutely had to.
You practice being a beast.
And I wouldn't even say I'm a beast to anybody. But in my head, when I walk into a room, I'm better than everybody in here.
For sure. I'm working on that, honey. I be in there like, oh, do I belong in this room? That's how I be in my head.
But to me, I had to learn, if you're in the room, act like you're supposed to be there.
Absolutely.
Like, just one thing you would never see me do, I will talk to even as an introvert. Like, I have to shut the introvert off.
Yes, I see it.
When I walk into a room, it's turned on. Like, you're not gonna talk down to me. You're not gonna look down.
And that's so interesting, Dave, because we're opposites. Like, your extrovert gets turned on, and like my introverts gets turned on in those situations. Because of my lack of confidence, I'm not able to
you shrink.
Put myself out there as much. So yeah, I think that's interesting. Like, we talk about being introverts and extroverts, but don't get it twisted. There's still introvert in me.
Yeah.
And there's extrovert in you.
It depends on the situation. Like, if we at an event, absolutely. The extrovert is out. And I'm networking. If there's anything I'm good at, it's networking. Like,
that's great. That's great.
I can, because I do believe in myself so much to the point I can make you believe in me.
That's what it
I
takes.
I may not get you to believe in what I'm trying to sell, but I don't need to do that. Believe in me, and we'll go from there.
Right.
Because people will always invest in you before they invest in anything you got to offer.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Yes. So
Nah, but for real,